We are connecting over right now, and I will tell you. Okay. And we are live again. Jericho, if you could put on mute for one quick second.
I believe she's on mute.
You're on mute? Okay.
Yes.
All right. For those of you watching out there live, we apologize for the little technical difficulties there. I saw it on my Facebook Live. I think you have witnessed it on yours as well. We're going to hand the mic back over to Sarah Elaine to reintroduce Fitz Johnson and give him an opportunity to pick up right where Jericho left off. Again, our humblest apologies. Technology sometimes has these little hiccups, and we will go from there. Sarah Elaine, if you wouldn't mind introducing Fitz, and I'm going to disappear again and mute my mic again. My apologies.
Thanks again, Leroy. And thank you, Jericho. Fitz Johnson is our next candidate. He will introduce himself. Fitz has vast experiences in building and leading companies, as well as nonprofit driving growth and producing positive results. Fitz, take it away.
Thank you so much, Sarah Lane, for moderating tonight. And thank you, Leroy, and to the Cobb Community Alliance for hosting us. And good evening to everybody out there tuning in tonight from a proud brother of Omega Sci-Fi Incorporated, Beta Mu Spring 83. And to my brothers, I'll give a shout out to Chi Gamma Gamma. It's good. I hope you're in there tonight. Tonight, I simply want to earn your vote and let you learn more about Fitz Johnson. I'd like to earn your vote for the next Cobb County Commissioner for District 2. I believe now more than ever, as we come out of this COVID, that we need a proven, experienced leader, one who understands budgets, finance, people, keeping our taxes low, enhancing our public safety, working on our traffic congestion by reducing your trip times and protecting our neighborhoods. I believe I'm that candidate. I've lived here in Cobb County for over 22 years. Simply put, I love this county. I love everything about it. Me and my lovely wife, we attend Cumberland Community Church. We have 4 grown children. I just had my 4th grandbaby, and he's absolutely adorable. He just makes one giddy. I earned my undergraduate degree from the Citadel. I have a master's degree from Troy University. I have a law degree from the University of Kentucky College of Law. And I believe it's my combination of 35 years of owning businesses, operating businesses, running nonprofits, volunteering in all 4 corners of this county. And adding on my 21 years of experience as an Army officer, believe that I am uniquely qualified to serve as your next commissioner. I've served on the board of the Wellstar Board of Trustees, Kennesaw State Foundation Board of Trustees. I'm coaching all my life. Matter of fact, I'm an volunteer assistant coach right now at Life University. I'm sat on the Cobb Chamber Board, and I appreciate all that goes in to running this county. Again, thanks for tuning in tonight. I hope you get to learn a little more about me, and then I can earn your vote. Thanks. I believe you're gonna have to unmute there.
Yes. Thank you very much, Fitz. Okay, I have about maybe 6 or 7 questions prepared here. We probably won't be able to get through all of them. If we make it through 4, then I would be satisfied, and I think you will be too. So we'll go ahead and get started with our first question. And it's something that Fitz actually mentioned during his presentation. So the question is, what are the most pressing issues that Cobb County faces during the post-COVID, and what are your plans? And I will ask Jerica to answer that question.
Thank you for that question. Absolutely. So there were a lot of issues pre-COVID that have not gone away. And we do know that even when COVID is no longer here, there will be a lot of impact that's inside of the community that we still have to deal with. Our actual recovery from COVID, from an economic perspective, mobility perspective, even our education. Because COVID exposed some of the gaps that many were unaware of. It highlighted what was already there. So when we talk about pre-COVID, we know that we had the Sterigenics issue that we were facing. We know that we have the East Cobb cityhood push. We know that there's a push with regards to transportation. How are we moving forward in dealing with traffic congestion? There's an environmental conversation as well. And with the recent protests, even before, because this issue did not come with the protests, how we address public safety and ensure that everyone feels safe within the community. So those issues don't go away. And then during COVID, like I said, we've highlighted some gaps that were already present with regards to connectivity, accessibility for education. We've noticed that there were logistical errors where the Board of Commissioners could definitely collaborate in a more effective manner with our school board so that we could administer resources more effectively. And we know that there's a lot more room for collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce as well. So those are all of the issues that we're going to need to face, not to mention the potential deficits that we will face with regards to a budget, because we know that we've lost a lot of our small businesses have been hit with regards to revenue. A lot of the tax revenue that was projected, there's still a lot of uncertainty as to how much we'll actually be able to retain. And for those that are listening, SPLOST will be on your ballot. We also have to look at the SPLOST deficits that we may encounter with sales tax revenue being impacted. So we're going to have tough conversations on the other side of this. And we need to make sure that all of the perspectives that are necessary are actually present at the table. And I've had a chance to serve at front row seats, serving on our SPLOST team, our oversight committee for the school board, and had a chance to witness how bureaucracy gets in the way of getting some of these things done, how personal feelings get in the way of serving the community. And that's really where having stronger relationships between the municipal government, the Board of Commissioners, the school board, state level, and federal level is really important to make sure that all of the tax dollars that are being contributed to this budget and beyond come back and get reinvested into the community. So those are the issues that we will face after the pandemic that will be focused on and have plans for.
I'll go ahead and repeat the question if you need me to, Fitz.
Thank you, if you would, please.
Okay. What are the most pressing issues that Cobb County faces during and post-COVID, and what are your plans?
Oh, thank you so much for the question. And boy, are we going to be busy? I will tell you, as your commissioner, coming out of this, the first thing that comes to mind is keeping our citizens safe. Safely trying to navigate ourselves through COVID. And it has hit, as Jerica mentioned, it has hit our community and hit it hard. So we must make sure that the safety of our citizens are first. The second thing I look at is the finances. We're going to have to take a hard look, and there are going to be some very difficult conversations going forward about our finances. What does our reserve look like, and what do we look like anything that may reoccur? And I will tell you, with my experience, I've run several companies. My last company, we're a $200 million company. I grew that company from 0 employees to over 1,700 employees. I've sat in that room and had to make some very difficult decisions, which we will have to do. So I would be sitting down with our CFO, our director of finance, in ensuring that we are looking out not just for post, 6 months COVID, but 5, 7, 10 years post COVID. And I would use my conservative values, my fiscal conservative, to make sure that we can continue to keep our taxes low and keep Cobb County one of your best places to live, work, and play. And I don't say that flippantly. You have to be able to analyze these budgets and make sure that you can work with the other commissioners as we move forward and look to the future. The other thing I'd tell you about is growth. I mentioned earlier, I love to live here. There's a whole bunch of people that love to live here and a whole bunch of people that want to live here. And I think that's a beautiful thing. But we're going to have to manage our growth. And you can look at the ARC and the amount of people, I think that's pushing 1 million people that will be in Cobb in the next 10 years. And we must plan for that. And again, when I look at setting back on my experience of sitting on boards, sitting on a Wellstar board, it's a $4 billion company, and being able to analyze those budgets and move us forward and work collaboratively with the other commissioners and with our employees at the county to move ourselves forward. So that's another thing I believe we must strongly look at as we move forward. Thanks.
Thank you very much for both your answers. Our second question, this will go to you first, Fitz. What do you think are the pressing issues and opportunities for the Truist Stadium area, the former Brave Stadium, and how do you plan to address them or capitalize on them?
I'm sorry, say that again. Pressing issues and what else?
Pressing issues and opportunities for the stadium, and how do you plan to address them or capitalize on them?
Okay, thank you so much. I will tell you, I hope everybody's excited as I am about Truist Park. I know there was a lot of debate running up to it, but I will tell you the results are unmatched. They are way ahead of schedule, even in this COVID. I met with Mike Plant and drilled him on how are we doing? How are we moving forward? And I will tell you, he's as excited as anybody. They're in the positive. Didn't think they would be because when you build a business, it takes time. But this Truist Park has been a hit for everybody. Our schools are getting tax revenue, the tax revenue that goes to the county, the sheer entertainment and a place for folks to go and spend their tax dollars here in Cobb County. It's been a huge boom for us. So I look at it as taking advantage of the opportunities of having a Truist Park in the center of our district. It is the financial hub, and they are willingly excellent partners, and they want to do their fair share. They will tell you, even during this COVID period. And again, I talked to Mike today, and he said, look, even during this COVID period, they are meeting their obligations, and the people are coming back to the park. People are coming back to the Battery. What we must make sure is we manage that, and they are managing it, and it continues to grow. So I would say, Truist Park is one of the best things to happen to our county, probably in a long time. Not just our county, it's our state. We are attracting people from around the country coming to see how it's done. How do you do a mixed use with a ballpark? How do you become excellent partners with our business leaders? And that Truist Park is a prime example moving forward. Thanks. Got me all excited.
Okay, Jerica, do you need me to repeat the question?
Please do. Thank you.
Okay. What do you think are the pressing issues and opportunities for the Truist Stadium area, and how do you plan to address them or capitalize on them?
Thank you. So there are a few different things to think about with regards to Truist. There are a ton of opportunities, and I'll get to that, but I'll start with some of the pressing issues. I think It represents, even though there are a lot of benefits that we've gained as a community, the issue that we walk through as a community is that the decision was made without the community feeling as though they were a part of the conversation in making that decision. Matter of fact, by the time it was announced, by the time the community found out about it, the decision was already made. And so it's more about process, and people are just ready to be, we can look at that as an opportunity to find more effective ways to engage. So one of the things, for instance, that I'm interested in, multilingual opportunities to make sure that we're engaging with different parts of the community, ensuring that when we have town halls, they're bi-directional, making sure that meetings are more accessible. And there is importance around responsible transparency, granted. It is important to make sure that the information that you're sharing actually empowers people so that they can contribute their opinion. So now let's look at the opportunities outside of what it could represent. Yes, Truist has generated a ton of funds, and we hope that they continue to grow. We know that there were more opportunities that were left on the table when that deal was cut. However, we know that there are some mobility conversations that need to continue on with regards to expanding transit opportunities to and from. When we talk about it being an economic epicenter, yes, that area is already generating dividends on top of dividends outside of Truist Stadium even. But the entire CID is making sure that it is connected outside of the county is also very, very important. So that is one of the opportunities. The other thing that is of intrigue to me is when we talk about these deficits in our budget, it's really important that we expand our tax base so as not to increase the tax burden. So by making sure that we have tourism, making sure that balanced tourism, mind you, making sure that we have balanced growth for some of these commercial properties that move in, making sure that we are an area that is attractive, even more attractive to large companies. Those are all things that are top of mind with regards to opportunities for both those that are visiting and those that are living here. And it's, yes, those are the opportunities and the pressing issues that we'll need to address moving forward.
Okay, thank you very much. I promise you all of our questions will not be about COVID. However, this next one is also. And we will go to you first, Jerica. What are your plans to grow the economy and booster small businesses post-COVID? And you might have said some of that during your last presentation, but why don't we answer that question specifically?
Absolutely. There are some specific policies or approaches that I do want to take. I talk about bringing people into the conversation, and that can, to some degree, not sound like a real tangible policy, but there are a few things that we can put in place. There is an initiative. I do want to see us stand up a diversity board, which is specifically tasked for working with economic development initiatives. So for instance, in the Truist Stadium area, we've got a very heavy Brazilian population. And matter of fact, it's so concentrated that people in Brazil know about this one area in Marietta. So as a community, if we embrace the concept of Little Brazil, there can be a lot of economic opportunity that comes from that. The other side with regards to some of the small businesses outside of diversity, just small businesses in general, as an entrepreneur myself, I understand how important it is to make sure that your balance sheet makes sense, to make sure that you can pay for everything that you're investing in, to make sure that you have ROI on what it is that you're investing in. But what's really important is to make sure that your business model is adaptable with what's going on in the community. And so that is where COVID had a very hard impact on many of our companies that are located here, is that it shifted what was required for that business to actually function and maneuver, even outside of its employees, but delivering real products. And so, and real services. And so I was very proud to see the Board of Commissioners and the Chamber of Commerce work collaboratively on that federal grant that came in to do a $50 million disbursement in order to append to the PPP loan that was administered to the federal government, and that was helpful. Where there could be some real help, though, is making sure that we're driving real programs that help inform and keep our businesses adaptable as we make some of these shifts, because we're not sure which of these cultural changes are long-term and which ones are short-term. We also know that this is going to have a heavy impact on commercial real estate. We don't know exactly what that looks like, but we know that there will be an impact. And so having these conversations proactively and thinking about what even dispersed commercial real estate models look like are all real opportunities. And then the last piece of economic, well, there are two more pieces. Another area that I'm looking at investing in, where I know that we can identify some federal and state grants, is around the initiative of smart communities. So if you're familiar with smart cities, imagine it being adopted countywide. That is one of the policy initiatives that I have. It is a broad spectrum that includes a lot of different items, but it's a way where we can engage different companies and issue bids to make sure that we're not just reinvesting in our infrastructure, but reinvesting in our infrastructure in a way that moves us forward as Cobb County and sets a real standard for what it could look like. And then the last piece is making sure that we have that wealth can stay generating within the community and that it can keep getting passed down from generation to generation to generation. And that is reinvesting in our libraries. And everyone says libraries, absolutely, because libraries are the gateway to opportunities. It's the gateway to knowledge, the gateway to self-empowerment. And so when we talk about being able to equip people with all of the resources that they need in order to excel, I'm looking at transforming and reinvesting our libraries into what would functionally be economic development centers, that we work with corporations because several corporations are doing well. My company that I work at is doing quite well right now during this pandemic, but are always interested in reaching out to the next generation. And so I would like to see sponsored maker spaces, things like 3D print shops, sound engineering studios, and then creating tenant spaces for nonprofits and for startups. And then we basically kick them out when they hit a certain size. They have to go to a private co-working space. But the idea is to make sure that we are cultivating and nurturing all of these areas that do not have access to resources with infrastructure that's already within every community, and just encouraging a broader community conversation so that we can reinvest and make sure that wealth as generated can continue to be passed down from generation to generation to generation.
To generation.
Yes.
Okay, Fitz, what are your plans to grow the economy and bolster small businesses post-COVID?
Thank you, Sarah Lane. This topic is close to my heart. Middle of March, I actually came down with COVID-19, a very serious case. Thankful and very blessed to be here now after a trip to the hospital and being out for about 4 weeks in the middle of a campaign. I also am a small business owner, and I understand the devastation that can wreak through your business. When I was the owner of our previous business, we went through some economic downturns. And I will tell you, as the leader, as the CEO of that company, understand you have mouths to feed. Okay, there's no two other ways to put it. You have mouths to feed. And so there's an understanding that we must first take care of our people. And that's what I do as a leader, is take care of our people. The CARES Act, when the CARES Act came in, I was very proud to see our Cobb County Commissioners team up with the Cobb Chamber and reach out $50 million worth of aid to our small businesses in the county. It's wonderful. That's great. And I will tell you, it has helped so many. And we've only been through the first round. We're going to go through a second round and possibly a third round. These funds are invaluable to keep these small businesses going. And when you're running a small business like that, you have to be agile. I'm sure you folks have seen, one day you're selling food and you got a nice big restaurant, and the next day it's all drive-up and it's all takeout. You now have a drive-through at the Marietta Diner that you didn't have before. Entrepreneurs are agile. They're very ingenuitive. They understand, hey, this is my life. I want to keep this thing going. So we must continue to reach out to help our small business owners, and we're not going to give them the money and walk away. We need programs, put programs in place that can help these young businesses. And one thing that I would like to introduce is a mentor protege program. Mentor protege program is in the Small Business Administration right now, and we can do that right here in our county, where a larger business, you know the deal. It mentors a young business and brings them along, and it's invaluable. I've been through it myself, where you have somebody that misery sometimes loves company. You have someone you can talk to, help you through looking at your P&L, helping you through your balance sheet, understanding how are we going to move forward, and someone that's there when you think you're going to turn the lights out. When you think you have to turn the lights out, there's someone there to say, hey, you know what? We're going to be there for you, and we're going to help you move along. So as we move forward, as we move out, hopefully blessings, we move out of the COVID era, we have to make sure that we don't abandon our small business. Small business is what makes us tick here in Cobb County. So we can't abandon our small business. So we have to work with our county, we have to work with our chambers, we have to work with our big business community so that they can ensure and help our smaller business get through their tough times. And I tell you, they have a lot of resilience. Small business has a lot of resilience. They will get back on their feet, and they will find a way to make it work, but they can't do it alone. We have to be there to help them and help them move forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Fitz. Our fourth question for the evening is, how do you plan to address the affordable housing issue in Cobb County? That's for you, Fitz. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I got you. Thank you. How are we going to address affordable housing in Cobb County? And that's a great question. And it's one that I've watched, and like I said, I've lived here for 22 years. And when you live in a county such as Cobb, that it is, let's face it, it is a wealthy county. But again, we must go back and make sure that we are all being taken care of. There is places in Cobb County that we need affordable housing, and not in just one area. It's going to be all over the county. And folks want to say, not in my backyard. Yes, in your backyard, but we make good quality affordable housing. Our employees, we like to have them live, work, and play here in Cobb County. And some right now, quite frankly, can't afford to live and here in Cobb County while they are working, because the housing market here is very expensive. So we have to work. That's one of the first things you want to attack as your new commissioner is how do we plan that? As we talked about earlier, we're going to go to 1 million people in this county. So how do we plan as a county to make sure that we have a place for everybody to live? Not just the wealthy. We need a place for everybody to live. And I absolutely will address that and use my experience again, my experience on running companies and understanding the financing, and all the while keeping our taxes low and not raising our millage rate. I will tell you, it can be done and will be done right here in Cobb. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Fitz. Angelica?
Yes, so you want to know about affordable housing.
Yes, in Cobb County.
Yes, Fitz, ditto. It is a very, very important issue. And we do need to make sure that we're looking countywide. So because this is an important issue, I'll get to that part. What I want you to know is that affordable housing impacts so many people. And yes, Cobb County is becoming harder and harder to live in. It's hard to afford to be able to live here. And most of our county workers have to commute here, about 60%. So when you think about those that are serving the community, it's very important that we make space for them to live in this community. And the issue, so moving into affordable housing itself for a solution, the issue right now with the way that affordable housing programs are situated is that it tends to be a concentrated area of lower cost housing, and it creates this lack of choice for people. And it limits the upward mobility of those that live in the areas. And so one of the models that I'm looking at is a more dispersed model, which is a program that you can opt in that is associated with a lot of tax incentives from a developer standpoint and from a homeowner standpoint, so that we can continuously make sure that there's a teacher in every neighborhood, a cop in every neighborhood, a firefighter in every neighborhood, and so on and so on. Because it's important that we are all connected, that we are all a part of the community that we love to live, work, and play in. And the other thing towards the planning side and what we're looking at over the next 20 years or so, we know that master planning sessions is a tool that it's effectively used for certain areas. And it is something that I would like to see done in all different parts of this county. That it is important that we all have a consideration and a thought around the planning and logistics. As an engineer, that's like music to my ears. To be able to coordinate things, make sure that it makes sense, make sure that it has a proactive plan, that it has contingencies, all of the above. And so when we do these master planning sessions, that's going to allow us to build a plan for the county and how we can move forward and make sure that everyone can, as Fitz mentioned, live, work, and play. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jerica. And surprisingly, we're able to get to our fifth question. And that is, how will you champion and address racial, income, education, and healthcare disparities in Cobb County? Let me read that again. How will you champion and address racial, income, education, and healthcare disparities in Cobb County? And I think it's your turn, Jerica. Is it? Maybe it's Fitz. Let's take Fitz.
All right there. Thank you. Yeah, now that's a mouthful. That's a handful. Look, we are in unprecedented times when it comes to racial justice. And that is something that the three of us, as we look on the screen, and the many viewers that are watching, know we have a deep appreciation for how hard we must work to get this addressed. And we must address this and continue to address this in our county. And so we've got to work together when we look at our budgets and look at how the county can provide outreach to these folks, to all of us in this environment. I was talking with my wife about this, and it's one of those that are very difficult time, but the conversations that we have, I think, are what's most valuable. Look, education, we must level the field with education. We have to address that and make sure that all parts of our county are doing, we're not the Board of Education, but we are influencers as commissioners, and we must work closely with our Board of Education to make sure that we are addressing everyone's needs when it comes to education. And let's face it, we can go to one part of the county and another part of the county, and you will not believe that these two schools are in the same county. We must figure out a way, how are we going to address those types of shortfalls? People love to, people want to be safe, okay? And I connect safe to education because people come here because of our education system. We have such a great education system, but they also want to be safe. And so we must make sure that we enhance our public safety. Education again, when it comes to our public safety. Making sure that they are properly trained for all the different things that they must run into on an everyday basis. I have a great appreciation for our public safety officers. I'm very proud and thankful to have those public safety officers. So we must pay them, make sure their benefits are on par so that we don't train them up and then have them leave us. Okay. And again, so if you come in for the education, we get that leveled off, address the educational issues, address the safety. Those two components really help ensure the live, work, play that we now enjoy here in Cobb County. And must, again, all of that while minding and being fiscally responsible as we're moving forward. Healthcare, I serve on the board of trustees at Wellstar Healthcare System, largest healthcare system in the state of Georgia. We oversee policy and strategy for a $4.5 billion enterprise. Okay, most people think, oh, Wellstar. Wellstar is a nonprofit. Wellstar Health System is a nonprofit. We have the third busiest emergency room at Kennestone in the country. We are doing that. We are making sure that we are serving everybody who comes through the door. But we have to continue that. That costs money. It costs money. So we have to continue to make sure that we're finding ways to make sure that everybody has the proper health care here in Cobb County. Thank you.
Thank you, Fitz. And Jerica?
Yes.
How will you champion and address racial income, education, and healthcare disparities in Cobb County?
So there's a lot in that, as Fitz alluded to earlier. I want to take a step back. When you think about the role of a county commissioner and everything, and the greatest power that county commissioners have, even beyond deciding the budget, which is critical for the actual logistics of the county. But what you have to remember is that county commissioners work lockstep with the department chairs and with all of those that work for the county. And they make sure that each department has what they need, because it's a family of experts, honestly, when it comes to these different areas. And so the greatest requirement of the county commissioner is to be able to lead all of the different parties and to make sure that those different departments are on the same page, that everyone can sit down and understand what the primary issues are that need to be resolved, and that we are bringing in the proper input from the community so that we can understand these issues holistically. And that is where the real power is, because the actual budget is a lot of haggling back and forth with regards to who gets what, how much this department should have, and whether or not they'll have all the equipment that they need. But to be able to drive a vision, if you start with a vision, just like in business, when you start with the vision, you can figure out everything else, the business model, the pricing strategy, the marketing strategy, so on and so forth. And so for these departments, for those areas that you've outlined, these are conversations that I've already started having with these department chairs about some of the policies and positions that I am looking to put forward. Because mind you, I really care and I think about issues very deeply. But I also admit I don't know everything, because I have not lived in every neighborhood, nor have I worked every job or lived every life. So it's having real conversations about different ideas and solutions. So when it comes to racial income or the income gap, that is a conversation about economic development, hence the diversity board and the smart communities initiative. These are all different unique ways that we can invest in different parts of the county. When we talk about education, no, we are not the school board, but it is so important that we have those relationships with our school board members. Because when I sat, I will tell you this, when I sat on the oversight committee, mind you, the oversight was fascinating, that word from the community perspective. But when I sat on the oversight committee for our SCLC budget, the finance director came out to go over the budgets, all of the information that goes into those projections. And he made the comment, people in apartments don't have kids. yeah, that look, that was my look. And I said, where did that come from? What does that number represent? Did we break that down by zip code, school district, anything? He said, when you take the average of the county, people that live in apartments don't have kids. And I said, do you think that might be an overexpression in certain areas? Because that means any school district that is surrounded by higher density development is now going to have an under projection for the number of students that will attend that school. And guess what that assumption lends to? That projection gets sent to the state, and the state runs it through their QBE, which determines how much money gets sent out to each school. So no one in that chain of command had any ill intent towards any community, but it created a disparity. It created a social class disparity. It created a racial disparity because the assumption was incorrect. And so when we talk about influence, when we talk about the butterfly effect of influence, that's one example, not to mention the hundreds of thousands and millions lost because of the lack of coordination when it comes to development projects or construction projects. Not to mention the lack of opportunity that we're unable to bring back into the community from taxes that we send up to the federal government. So those are all different things with regards to education where we can have an outside influence. Not to mention there are some external partners that we can bring into the fold. When it comes to financial literacy, there are some amazing nonprofits that work in that area that we can make sure we're having collective conversations around appending that to our education. And then healthcare. Healthcare is a tricky one. It doesn't necessarily fall directly when you think about access to healthcare. We can make sure that we provide more opportunities for developers to come in and provide more pop-up shops to make sure that our veterans healthcare services are opportunities as well, because we're lacking in that space. But one of the things that's in our face right now, that's staring us in our face, is the coordination with the Department of Public Health. Making sure that not only are they just validating some of the plans, but that they're a part of all of the plans that we craft for Cobb County. That is how we can have a holistic approach. And when we go to the Cobb delegation, which is a structure that holds all of our state representatives for Cobb County, and we have that discussion about access for healthcare, that we can have a real meaningful conversation because they rely on the commissioners to be able to communicate those needs. So that is how we can, it boils down, as I said, to the influence side, but there are some tangible things that we can put in place to get there. But we just have to be willing to have those tough conversations and bring people together.
Okay, thank you very much, Jerica. And we are approaching the end of this session, which is scheduled to go until 8:15. So I have time for one final question. And it actually goes to a comment that maybe both of you referred to in terms of working with others and having those, those relationships. So this question goes to, oh, and you know what, before I go to that question, I want to let you know, I just decided to start looking at the chat. So there's lots of good comments. Everyone they're enjoying the comments that you're making. They're giving some feedback. Excellent point, talking about donating, saying that we have some wonderful candidates here. So kudos to the two of you. And I'll go ahead and say good luck to the two of you right now, okay? So our final question is, describe your leadership style and ability to work with 4 other commissioners, other essential officials, staff, and community. So what is your leadership style? Jerica.
Sure. So leadership style can be surmised as proactive, passionate, and practical. And when it comes down to the proactivity, that's probably the leading part of it. Even if you look at this COVID crisis that we're going through, a lot of it could be prevented if we were, a lot of it could have been prevented if we were proactive. We knew that a pandemic was possible. We knew what the impact would be. We knew how to curb the effects. And we knew that it would take coordination. And because those things did not happen, we are where we are. And we do what we can do. But being proactive allows us the real advantage to get ahead of things and to solve complex problems before they become a problem. So that is my leadership style. With regards to working with our staff, already been developing a really great relationship with several of our department heads, looking at policy, working with some of the boards as well. I've served in different capacities. I'm not new to this space and have had a chance to have dialogue that honestly went into the policy that we proposed. So it really matters to me to make sure that those conversations are brought in. And even as we're going through this COVID recovery with the plans that are being administered, these are items that I pick up the phone and call on and say, why is this in here? Can we tweak it this way? Can we change this way? And it's a really honest conversation that is about bringing people to the table. Because at the end of the day, we're all on Team Cobb. It's not about who's right. It's not about who's wrong. It's about what gets us there. That's the practical side. And then the passion, I hope you can just see that. I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, Fitz, describe what, would you like me to repeat it?
It's okay. I think I got it. You're doing a fabulous job, by the way.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. I've been brought up with a military background. My father is a retired brigadier general officer in the United States Army. Myself, I spent 21 years in the Army, and that's where the basis of my leadership training began. But you adapt that leadership as you become more mature. Right? You saw me as a young, fiery lieutenant. I'm much different then than I am now. Now, I describe myself more as listening to the people. Also, taking care of people is paramount, and also is not only taking care of your people, but being able to make decisions and be results oriented. And those top three things, I believe, are what lead my leadership. Now, I like I said before, I've been in Cobb County for over 22 years. I've worked here. I've made contacts throughout the entire county. I've met with many of the directors up at the county. I've worked with the directors. I've worked with volunteering throughout this county. The different leadership roles has molded me into the leader that I've become today. And I think that is a leader where I have some proven results, where I can show you, the results of building a company, results of working with the Kennesaw State University Foundation in building Fifth Third Bank Stadium, bringing women's professional soccer, and being the chairman of the board of trustees, or the chairman of the board of the Women's Professional Soccer League. You don't get put in these positions unless you have shown and proven that your leadership is where folks want to follow. As far as working with the other board members, I believe as a commissioner, I'd be a huge asset. It's what I do. Some of my bread and butter is working with other people, collaborating with the other commissioners. As you said, we're running for Cobb County Commissioner in District 2, but it's the entire county that we are looking out for. It's not, we got ours, but it's the whole that we want to make sure that we're looking out for. And working with the other commissioners, I think is one of the things that I will excel at as far as bringing us together, collaborating with them, and getting us moving as a unit. Because when we move as a unit, and the commissioners are moving as a unit, not that we're going to agree on everything, but when you move in a unit and you get in a groove, that's just better for the county. So those are some of the leadership aspects that I have to share tonight. Thank you.
Got it, Fitz? Okay. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do this, but since I have the mic, I will. I just wanted to give a few shout outs. I see Tashawn Parks and Desiree, and then there's Terry Harper and Samantha Lewis, all of them giving shouts out to the two of you, maybe one for you and Jerica and one for you, Fritz, but these were just some of the latest comments that I received or saw in our chat. So we want to thank them for those wonderful comments, and kudos again to the two of you. I hope that this forum has been rewarding for our audience, and I hope that you've had a good time, Fitz and Jerica also. Just, I think like Leroy said in the beginning, this is not a debate. It's just an opportunity for you to, answer some questions as it relates to Cobb County, maybe some questions that our audience may be interested in, and just give your point of view. So thank you for allowing me to be your moderator. It has truly been an enjoyable and educational hour for me. And again, I'm honored to have been asked. To our audience, I say to you, continue to be safe, be vigilant, and if you think that you will not be voting in person, please request your ballot now. Otherwise, we will be strolling to the polls beginning October 12th. This is Sarah Elaine Jones. I'm saying goodnight to everyone and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Now we're going to have everyone hold on for a few more minutes.
Okay.
So that was great. And I want to do one last thing. One question I want to ask both Jerica and Fitz. First of all, if you've tuned in the past, the first question that I ask as we close out is that you leave your contact information so that everyone can get to you. But I'm going to ask one additional thing, just push that a little bit further. I'm going to go ahead and start with Jerica first. I'm going to ask for 2 minutes. If you could just give a closing comment, and in that closing comment with your contact information, and then we'll go to Fitz and do exactly the same thing. Fitz will give a 2-minute closing comment and give his closing information as well. So I'm going to shut my mic and it's going to go to you. Jerica, you first, and Fitz, if you could just take it right from there when Jerica finishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Leroy. Thank you, Sarah Elaine. Thank you, everyone who's listening. I just want to say I am just so privileged, so honored, so excited to be running in this position and working to earn your vote. I am also excited about Cobb's future. We know we are going through a lot, but with those kinds of challenges, with these kinds of challenges that we face, comes incredible opportunity to lead, to show what the future really can be like. And that is something that I want to bring my experiences as an engineer, as a person in the working class, as someone who has served in different capacities, serving the community, as working with different elected officials around the county, as someone who's also a small business owner, as someone who has done research, a Georgia Tech grad. I did research in neurology and meteorology and so on. I love the sciences and mathematics, but I also really like bringing it all together so that we can come up with real practical solutions for big problems. And that is what I'm excited about. I think that Cobb County has all of the talent, all of the diversity, and all of the challenges, which are perfect ingredients to lead the way. And we know that there are incredible things here. We know people are always drawn here. Fitz, you mentioned the incredible opportunity that we have to live here. And the thing is so many more want to be here. And I care about protecting our sense of home. I mentioned that home was the people that we meet, the school we go to, the businesses that we frequent, the relationships that we build. All of those things create the idea of home. And I want to make sure that Cobb County as a whole stays home for those that are here now, that have been here, and for those that have yet to come. So I am excited to be on this journey with you. I envision a Cobb County with wonderful infrastructure, transportation infrastructure, with a leading drive when it comes to the environment, with flourishing economic opportunities for all different communities, where we care about the assumptions that we make when it comes to planning and assessment, and where we're super proactive when it comes to some of these big challenges. So I hope you will join me. You can reach me at 404-969-5116. You can email me at Jerica, Jerica, at jericaforcobb.com. Or you can just visit my website at jericaricardson.com or jericaforcobb.com and learn more about the policies that I have to offer. I am here for you. I want to serve you. I want to represent you. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you so much, everyone, for hosting this, for being here, and for caring about Cobb County as much as I do.
Thanks, Jerica. I'll pick it up from there. Thank you, Leroy and the Cobb Community Alliance for putting on this event, obviously. And Sarah, excuse me, Sarah Lane, fabulous job tonight, keeping us on track and moderating this evening's event. Thank you to all of you out there who have tuned in to learn more about myself and learn more about Jerica. Now, Cobb County is facing some critical challenges here in the near future. Our leaders are going to need to be passionate, which I hope I've shown you tonight, about this community, about Cobb County, have some business acumen, have some financial background to understand moving forward with the budget with Cobb County. I believe my faith, my leadership, integrity, all line up, along with my 35 years of experience in the military, running businesses, and serving as a volunteer throughout this county, line me and position me uniquely to be your next Cobb County Commissioner here in District 2. It's been a great evening, and I really appreciate everybody tuning in. I can be reached at friendsforfits.com. You can email me at fits@friendsforfits. You're getting the you're getting the gist of this. You hit Friends for Fits at Friends for Fits for Facebook and on Twitter. My phone number, my cell number is 404-427-1615. Would love to hear from you. And again, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. I hope I can. I hope I've earned your vote tonight. I see that Leroy has moved me out, but I hope I've earned your vote tonight. And remember, Fits Cobb. Thank you.
Now that was not my intent at all, Fitz, so please do not interpret it that way. I was merely putting this up on the screen. I'm glad you both gave out your contact information. First of all, Sarah Lane, I've also been watching the comments, and you have quite a fan club here. I think a third of the comments are about you and to you. So kudos,
pink and green.
kudos to you as well. Kudos to you as well. Listen, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. I do want to have all the candidates unmute their mic for a second. There's one important piece that we talked about before we got online, and we wanted to share with you. First of all, a great forum tonight, a great opportunity for them to both express their ideas. I'm glad I don't live in District 2 because I'd be worried, I'd be trying to figure out how to split my vote to go both ways. We have really two outstanding candidates for what is really the financial district of Cobb County, the future of Cobb County. All of Cobb County counts. I'm in another part of Cobb County, but there's no doubt about it that is our financial district for Cobb County. But what I've asked the candidates to just help me share with you as we close out for the evening is that we want to ensure that every vote gets counted. There's an opportunity, two great opportunities just here tonight with us to cast your vote if you're in East Cobb. But no matter where you are, we want every vote to be counted. And I just want to highlight just a couple of dates for everyone to pay attention to. We want your vote to be counted. The deadline to register to vote is October 5th, 2020. And that's going to come super fast. I mean, it's practically here. So whether it's online, whether you're planning to go to the polls or whatever, that date still holds. You have to get your registration in, or at least stamped, postmarked by that date. Also, it's important to mention that October 12th through the 30th is the Friday, the October 30th is the opportunity for early voting. So again, we want to encourage folks, get out there early. If you want to avoid the crowds, get out there early. Otherwise, mail in your vote. I also want to just take a quick moment to mention that this was the 8th installment of a 10 installment series. So we have 2 more coming up. Next week, we have real equally important. The Cobb County Sheriff. They do a lot. They do a lot. Very important race, a lot of opportunities and challenges going on there currently today, and a lot of vision to be expressed by the current and the challenger. So we encourage you to come in, and for folks that are familiar with that crimson jacket, the hallmark of the local Kappa chapter, the Alpha Smyrna Alumni chapter will be hosting that. And then it's also another forum date. Now, I've been encouraged, so I would say stay tuned on this to change that date, which we might. We haven't changed any dates because that is the last day of to register to vote. So we're toying with that right now, but just stay tuned in and we will. But again, another closing opportunity to look at great candidates featured on Cobb County. We thank you as always for participating. We love all the comments that are out there. And also I would encourage you on our Facebook page, we have an opportunity to sign up. We have a lot of organizations, last comment that I'll make, that are approaching us because there's not very many places in the state and in the country where 17 African-American organizations are working together. So with that, a lot of unique opportunities are being presented to us. If you want to hear about those, we have a place you could sign up on our Facebook site. We'll send information out. The biggest thing that we're trying to push is that October 5th date to make sure that everyone has registered. So again, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I thank these 2 great candidates. I'm gonna ask them to hang on and hold on for a second. Sarah Lane, once again, phenomenal job. And to all of our guests, we'll say good night. Thank you for attending, and we'll look to see you next week at the Cobb Community Alliance Candidate Forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
All right,
Night.
and we will end that night.